We're now delighted to welcome on stage another country that knows a lot about mega events, the UK, that hosted the London Olympics in 2012, many sporting events like the Euros a few years ago, and the Commonwealth Games in Glasgow, so a lot of experience about mega events. He was here last year when he was based in DC. He is now, it's his 7th week here in LA as the new Consul General here. So please give a warm welcome to Anu Angelino.
Hi, good morning, everyone. I'm Paul Rennie, the British Consul General, and it is indeed my second time here in a city like LA. I know how important sequels are. If I come back for a third year, we can start to call this a franchise. But right now, it's my great pleasure to be here because in the years since I was last here, it's amazing how much has been changing in Los Angeles and how much focus has come back to that journey around autonomy, mobility, and transport. And it's no surprise because all eyes are starting to focus on the Olympic and Paralympic Games in 2028. And there's no better city in a way to do this because Los Angeles is almost unparalleled in terms of its focus on science and sustainability, its focus on technology and new mobility solutions. And it's also a city full of disruption and innovation. It's why for us, it's a great partnership to be here with CoMotion again. But it'll also come as no surprise as the British Consul General. I think we've got some pretty cool things happening in the UK as well. Not just in terms of our innovation and our companies, but also in terms of the innovation in our policy environment, which is something we really want to help enable to accelerate all the great ideas. And so today, for a few minutes, I want to talk about some of these ideas of where we're looking at new policy, new innovations, around our industrial strategy, which is known as Invest 2035, around our Autonomous Vehicles Act and how we're putting it together, and also just to say a few words at the end about our own lessons learned from the Olympics in 2012 and how we can work in partnership moving ahead. So firstly, with Invest 2035. So in October of this year, with a new government in the UK for a 5-year mandate, we launched a new modern industrial strategy. And it's a 10-year plan focusing on delivering stability and support for business, but also looking at how we can enable new pathways and new opportunities for economic growth. First and foremost, we're looking at what are the barriers to investment, such as things like the availability of skills, research and development regulations, energy prices, grid connections, infrastructure, all the kinds of things that as businesses you know can hold you back in terms of getting things done and getting things started. We're also taking an approach of looking at all of these aspects through the prism of investment. How are we promoting investment? How are we learning best practice? And it's why our partnership with CoMotion is always so powerful as a chance not just to learn from other international experiences, but also to be able to take forward partnerships in a much deeper and more productive way. And at the same time, the government itself is leaning in financially to this journey with new investments in key sectors like advanced manufacturing, clean energy, defense, and technology. We want a pro-business environment, but not just by enabling the commercial links, but also by enabling the policy landscape. And that's why Invest 2035 is not just being run out of the central government in the UK. We're also helping our local governments and our local authorities across England, Wales, Scotland, and Northern Ireland to give them the tools they need at a local level to grow sectoral clusters, to improve the local business environment, and to ensure they have the expertise to engage with international firms that want to do business at a local level. And it's not just about the businesses, because all of us know that some of the barriers to getting things done are not just sitting in the business space or the government regulation space. We're also working with the trade unions. We're working with local and devolved leaders and local and devolved experts, and also the international partners here to bring them forward to those conversations so they can create the right cluster and environment to make it all work. And in doing this, we're building on a lot of existing strengths. We're already a world-leading research institution, world-leading innovation firms. For example, there are more satellites launched from Glasgow, built in Glasgow, I should say, than any other city in Europe. We're one of the most globally connected economies and the second largest exporter of services in the world. And especially as the technology space is not just about the manufacturing, but the service, it matters that that service sector can reach a global audience quickly and efficiently. And we're also home still to some of the most cutting-edge advanced manufacturing across the UK, not just in London, but with key hubs in places like South Yorkshire and the west of England, which is super important when you're looking to attract talent and the price point for housing and the availability of quality of life really matters to be able to engage beyond the bigger cities. And I think in 2023, some of you will have seen that the new Mobility Challenge winner was a company called iComat, a British firm, which are now working to support their growth within the US. But to make all of this work, we need the right kind of policy landscape. And that's why our Autonomous Vehicle Act is a great case in point of how we are trying to create the policy-enabling environment to allow these things to succeed. Obviously, there's no better place to talk about things like autonomous vehicles in Los Angeles. I'm an avid user of Waymo myself, and that's saying something because my mother drove a street cab in Edinburgh for 37 years. So to see that technology change in my lifetime and my family's personal journey is quite something, but I should say that Waymo has never given me the kind of chat that my mum would have given me in the back of a taxi cab. But I'm sure there'll be an app for that at some point. You'll be able to choose the music and choose the kind of angry critique of everything that's happening in the world today. It's funny because CoMotion is talking about autonomous everything, and autonomous everything is part of what we want to help support in our journey. So in May 2024, earlier this year, we launched this Autonomous Vehicles Act with what we call Royal Assent, the first stage in getting this forward in terms of the legislation. And the government today has now set out a timeline targeting the second half of 2027 to get the main AV regulations in place. Now, that's not a journey we're undertaking alone. The UK government is already actively engaged in the United Nations Economic Commission for Europe, looking to harmonise vehicle type approval regulations and to develop the international rules for self-driving vehicles. We're also involved in a number of other international working groups and fora and task forces to help make sure this is not just the UK driving ahead, that we're working together collectively to make that work. And our proposed timeline of 2027 coincides and harmonises with the UN's own automated driving system regulations. Again, expecting on 27 because we want to make sure the UK is both a leader, but it is moving and helping to shape the global environment at the same time. Because we want the international standards to move quickly, because we know that 88% of road collisions involve some kind of driver error. But we also want to do it in a way that is safe and a way that brings the public trust with us as we take that step forward. Which is why things like the Autonomous Vehicles Act has provisions for a vehicle approval system, which is supported by a completely independent accident incident investigation function. And that really matters because when you're pioneering new kinds of technologies, it's critical you create a shared culture of learning and a shared culture of trust between all the operators to ensure the public as a whole believes in the new technology and wants to embrace it. And most importantly, this legislation will also protect the driver of the autonomous vehicle. For the first time, corporations such as insurance providers, software developers, and automotive manufacturers can assume the responsibility for the vehicle, not the driver. Now, obviously, companies will have an ongoing obligation to keep their vehicles safe and ensure they continue to drive in accordance with British laws. But this is a legislation that helps to give more clarity about where do the lines of responsibility begin and end, and how do individuals take advantage of that at the corporate and at the personal level. Because we know the opportunity is significant. It's not just about saving lives and reducing congestion, reducing pollution, but there's also $45 billion industry at play with up to 38,000 new skilled jobs that could be there by 2035. We want, as the UK, to be leading in this industry. We want to be able to develop the opportunities for businesses to take advantage of that. And most recently, the UK's Centre for Connected and Autonomous Vehicles announced a $20 million package of support for 13 British-based self-driving projects. It's an example of how we're investing government money as well to help bring these forward. But it's not just government money. Recently, the UK AI company Wave announced over $1 billion of investment into California to develop the next generation of AI-powered self-driving vehicles. And the AI powering is critical. They're backed by SoftBank Group, NVIDIA, Microsoft, and Wave is using this investment to launch the first embodied AI technology for self-driving vehicles in the UK. And believe me, anyone who spent more than 5 minutes in the back of a London taxi will know the need to take instant decisions for unexpected situations is pretty much every day when it comes to driving around London. So that kind of technology is absolutely vital. But as we look towards that future, we're also looking back at what we've achieved in the past and how we have taken innovation from that step. So something like the London 2012 Olympics and the Paralympics was a great opportunity as well to look at our infrastructure and look at our systems. 12 years on, I'm proud to say that these games are still seen as some of the gold standards around when it comes to delivery and public perception of how games can be run. They were focused not only on delivering an amazing spectacle, but also on building a lasting legacy, increasing public participation in sports, regenerating communities, and setting new standards for how we accounted for carbon emissions during the Games. But they also led to a huge number of innovations in infrastructure and transport management. Innovations which to this day we are using to support smooth and better journeys across London, and innovations which we're delighted to share with our friends and colleagues here in Los Angeles as they look forward to their own 2028 Games. Indeed, the foundation for a lot of that partnerships was laid through CoMotion in 2021, where we signed an MOU, Memorandum of Understanding, between the UK's Department of Transport and the City of Los Angeles to cooperate on lowering greenhouse gas emissions from the transport sector and supporting more understanding, a partnership which continues to this day. So in closing, really for me, it's to say it's a tremendous privilege and a kind of pleasure to be here and part of CoMotion again and part of being able to work with all of you. It's been an enormous pleasure as well because a number of great British firms have once again come out to CoMotion to learn from you, to share their world-class innovations, bringing it all together. But it's also a tremendous sense of obligation, I think, on all of us, because as we meet together today and as we learn together today, it's incumbent upon us to take these ideas and take these opportunities to deliver the kind of future mobility solutions that our customers and our public not only deserve, but frankly demand increasingly from us today. And it's striking for me that when we think about these often as kind of individual moments of technology and individual moments of kind of business opportunity, at the end of the day, for every single piece of that mobility is a very human story. It is somebody getting from A to B. It is somebody with a disability able to access new kinds of transport. It is getting people connected faster in ways that are more sustainable and better for the environment than ever before. And in some respects, that transport journey remains the most fundamental enabling feature about everything else we do in society today. Hence, I'm really grateful for all your thoughts and for your wisdom and for our continued partnership with CoMotion. Thank you, everyone.